All right, fifth grade, we are about to create our final Bad Hair Day self-portrait piece. So what you are going to need is your Zentangle paper that we completed last week. I will hand out your portraits that we took last week. And I will also be handing out new papers so we can cut and paste everything onto our final background. In your buckets, which I will pass out in just a minute, you are going to see glue and scissors. Those are the only two materials you'll need today to complete your collage. So to get started, your first step is going to be to cut out your entire portrait from the piece of paper. It is entirely up to you if you would like to cut off your hair or not, because your Zentangle is about to become your hair. I am gonna go ahead and cut mine off. So I'm gonna look super bald in a second. When doing this, you wanna make sure you're going really slow, turning your paper with your scissors so that you don't see any space, any white space behind you. You're gonna cut all the way down to where it is cut off, and then just cut that straight line. Now, this will be all trash that we'll throw away at the end of class. But now your job is to glue down your portrait to your Zentangle paper. That is the next step. So the first step was to cut it out. The second step, will be to paste it onto your Zentangle. So when I open my glue, I'm making sure the top is turned, making sure I can hear it whistle. And I'm just gonna do a couple of dots on my portrait. I'm not completely filling the entire thing. Just a few dots of glue will work. I'm flipping it over and I'm pasting it at the bottom of my Zentangle. Once it is nice down and secure, I'm using my hands to make sure everything's flat. The glue will start drying. From here, it is your job to cut out your hair. So what I prefer to do is I like to design my hair in pencil or pen first, and then I know where to cut once I get started. So I want to make sure that my hair starts from about my neck. It can start all the way at the bottom, or it can start at the top of your head. It's up to you. And I'm going to draw a nice line. For me, I want mine to be all curly. And I want to use up as much of my Zentangle as possible because I worked really hard on it last week. I'm not just doing something really teeny tiny down here, right? I used up the entire paper. Now it is my job to cut it out. So when you are cutting out the hair, this is the most tricky part of this. You want to start just like you did when you were cutting out your portrait, down here at the shoulder. And then I'm just following my pencil line that I created to cut out my bad hair. You can do this freehand without drawing first, but I have had people in the past say they messed up and they cut something they didn't want to, and there's really no opportunity for you to go back once you start cutting. It's completely up to you what you want your hairstyle to look like. This is just how I prefer mine, with the crazy wonky hair. You can do a mohawk, you can do an afro, you can do spikes, you can do curls, whatever you want to do, it's up to you because it's your project. I am making sure to go nice and steady and slow, making sure I'm turning my paper and my scissors as I cut to make a nice clean cut. And I bring it back up to my shoulder and finally cut the last little piece. Now once I clear everything away, you'll get a better picture of what my hair looks like, and it's a little crazy. All right, your last and final step today will be to take your portrait and mat it onto your final piece of paper. So just like before with the tiny amounts of glue or a thin line, I'm gonna take my glue bottle and just trace the outside real quick. It doesn't take a lot of glue. I shouldn't see anybody unscrewing this glue bottle and pouring it on their portrait. If I want to do an X in the middle as my last little glue, I'm going to carefully flip it over, making sure I'm not getting it on my fingers, lining it up at the very bottom of my paper, and setting it flat. Using my hands to gently just massage the paper so that I know it's nice and flat. And I can even turn it over, rub down my paper so I know that the glue is adhering and nothing will be popping up. Once you get here, if you have a couple of areas where your hair is sticking up, go ahead and just glue those down. We don't want anything to be sticking up on our portrait since we worked very hard on the Zentangle last week. And once you get here, you're pretty much done for today. This is the goal I want you to get to. And then tomorrow we'll talk about adding emphasis with our markers around our hairdo.